Welcome to Introspection, the podcast about moving from grief to growth. I'm Amy Lindner-Lesser, your host. Introspection started out as a podcast about hospitality, innkeeping, and innkeepers. After about a year, I realized that my life and interests have morphed from hospitality to helping others navigate from grief and loss to growth and living. In this new version of Introspection, I will be talking about my personal experiences with loss, and there are quite a few, what I've learned along the way through my professional training, as well as from my coaching experiences. I'll also be bringing in guests to share interesting ideas. So grab a beverage, find a comfy place, take a deep breath, and listen in. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Introspection. My guest today is Karen McPhail, who is a Soulmate coach, a certified quantum coach, as well as the creator and CEO of Infinite Life Possibilities and the Soulmate Solution, as well as other business and life programs. She's also founder of a Facebook group, which we'll talk about in a little bit. It's called the Soulmate Sisterhood. Karen comes to us with a background of working as a corporate executive and also in the field of education before starting her own coaching business. She based her signature program, the Soulmate Solution, on her own journey and meeting her soulmate in Paris almost 4 years ago. And I was there. I was there in Paris with them, and I was in one of Karen's Soulmate Solution groups. And that's why I thought Karen would be a great person to come and talk to our podcast listeners. Karen has a passion for travel, and together she and her husband have a blended family of 5 adult children and 1 grandchild. So welcome, Karen. I'm so glad you're here to talk to our listeners.
Thank you, Amy. I am excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me. And as you were reading that bio, I was like, oh my gosh, Amy has been there every step of the way. Amazing.
Amazing and wonderful.
Yes.
It's been a fun journey to be on with you.
Thank you. Well, I've loved having you along there.
Well, why don't we start with you telling the listeners a little bit about your own journey and how it turned into the Soulmate Solution.
Okay. And I think, when I think about, I also had grief and loss around a 20-year marriage. And I was a single mom with 2 kids for over 11 years. So there was a long time that I had, just the loss of the family that I used to be a part of, and somewhat a loss of an identity of myself. So that's really where my journey started, as far as learning about how becoming your own soulmate can really fill the gap from loss and grief in your life, or big transitions where you've lost a part of what your life used to be like, right? So that's really where my official journey started. And I was a single mom for over 11 years and had always longed to find my soulmate. And through all the study that I did, it was presented to me by one of the gurus that I followed, that what is the secret, if you will, to meeting your soulmate? And this was Joe Dispenza. And he said, becoming the soulmate you want to have in your life. And that one sentence was so profound to me that it changed the whole course of my life. And I started doing that. I started becoming my own soulmate, building a love relationship, if you will, with myself. And in doing that, part of the Soulmate Solution program is all about becoming a vibrational frequency to what you want to attract. So what does that mean? It means that whatever you want to bring into your life, whether it's, deep love, a love for life, joy in your life, whatever you want to attract into your life, you need to be vibrating at that frequency. And so how do you do that if you want to attract a soulmate? You become your own soulmate. You become who you want to attract into your life. And so that was the premise of what I started doing in my own life. And the way manifestation magically works is all these dots are connecting in the universe that you don't even see. You just keep doing what you're supposed to be doing to raise your vibrational frequency, which is pretty cool because you're loving your life and you're really getting past staying in that state of grief and longing and void. And not, I went through the process. I went through counseling. I did things for self-care and self-help, but then I was ready to say, I'm ready to move on and I want joy in my life. And so anyway, that's how my journey began.
And I remember hearing you talk about your story that you had spoken with, I believe it was your therapist, who said, Karen, I have it. I know who you're going to end up finding and marrying. It's going to be a man who is wearing either blue or brown.
Yep.
And you said, what? And you said, well, if you don't start getting out, you're going to end up marrying a letter carrier or the UPS guy.
Yep.
Yes. That has stuck with me.
Right.
That I went through your program. I mean, for me, it was 22 years after my husband died.
Yeah.
And I thought I had done all the work, only to find out that, nope, I hadn't. And I probably was not ready. But what I found was that I became my own soulmate.
Right.
And if I find somebody else, fine. If I don't, I'm content.
Right. But in the process, you built that relationship with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that we've had a conversation about this before, and that it was almost like, well, if I meet a soulmate, that's just more like icing on the cake because I feel so fulfilled with who I am. And that's the place that I had gotten to as well. And then what I needed to do in my life to move my journey forward was to start saying yes. And that's part of exactly what my counselor was saying. You've got to get out of the house. You've got to start saying yes to opportunities. You've got to get out in the world. And that's the way manifestation works. Because the coincidences, the serendipities, the synchronicities, they can't happen to you unless you're out in the world where they're happening, right? So sitting on your couch is probably not going to really bring into your life all these things that you desire to really happen in your life. So it was really when I started saying yes to life that my real connection and relationship with myself as a soulmate started happening. And the biggest yes, which you took that big yes to, is both of us said yes to going to Paris alone to ultimately go to this event that we were both going to, but both of us said yes, not knowing either one of us was going. And it was the biggest yes I'd ever said to myself, to go to a foreign country by myself, right? And it was in that big yes that I met my soulmate and ended up marrying him a short time afterward. So
it was amazing. I mean, it was an event mostly for women. And
yes,
I think
there were three men.
Okay.
He was one of whom
one of whom was married, and his wife was there.
Right.
Yeah, Doug and another man who
from Australia.
Yep. And a group of amazing women, all trying to be the best woman that we could each be.
Right. It was a self program with Fabienne.
Self-discovery, self-development program. And for me also, it was me saying yes to the universe. My mother had died in March of that year, and this program came up for May. And I remember thinking, that's a gift that my mother will have given me.
Nice.
By buying that trip, I had never flown internationally alone. I had never been to Paris. I did know the coach who was leading the program, and I felt comfortable with that. And I knew a few women who were going to be there, which helped to make me feel comfortable. But it was a huge step.
Yeah.
And then we both also
a big yes to life.
We both also said yes to the idea of a photo shoot.
That's right.
Which was another huge step out of our comfort zones.
Yes.
And, there's the saying, growth happens on the other side of your comfort. If you stay where you're comfortable, you're not going to grow.
That's right. And I wholeheartedly believe that. I mean, everything really that I've done, especially in the last 4 years of my life, has almost all been about being out of my comfort zone. But so much richness and joy has come from that, so you do it scared.
Definitely. Doing it scared is something that has resonated with me for many, many years.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's the only way to do it. Sometimes you feel a little bit more comfortable than others, but you just say yes.
And I think, though, the more we do that in our life, the easier it gets to go outside of your comfort zone, mainly because you have a track record. You build on your successes. It's really maybe scary at first. And then every time you do it and you realize, I didn't die. Maybe it didn't turn out the way I thought it would, but I totally grew from that experience, right? And that's what life is. It's a learning experience. Ultimately, it's the big play field of learning. But every time you grow, you kind of get stronger along the way. And so it's easier, I think, to say yes more often, because you have the faith that, you know what, it's not as scary as I thought, and it does work out.
Exactly.
I think it always works out.
So let's go back to the course and the program, the Soulmate Solution, because my understanding is you're going to be launching another class mid-February.
Yes. The third week in February. I think right now it's scheduled for February 22nd. And so this will be the third round of the Soulmate Solution. You were in the first round of that program. What this program is really designed it's a 12-week program for women only. And it's designed to have you become your own soulmate, get to the point where you absolutely are loving your life, so that you are vibrating at that frequency to attract a soulmate partner. But like you said, you took the 12 weeks, and really what it was about was developing that soulmate relationship with yourself, which is what you took away. And I remember Laura in the program. I had reached out to her. She was somebody that had been in a previous program of mine, a life program, and said, Laura, I think this would be great for you. And she said, Karen, I am grieving deeply right now, a 5-year relationship that I just got out of. The last thing that I want is to meet somebody new. I don't even care about that. I can't even imagine even talking about this kind of thing. I'm so heartbroken right now. Anyway, I said, Laura, just jump on. Just, if it's not your gig after 2 or 3 sessions, well, you know what happened with Laura. You can tell that story. I mean,
you know what? She was right. She didn't want to meet somebody new, and she didn't. She ended up having a long-time friendship that turned into a romantic relationship.
Yeah. In fact, I think it was on, after about 8 weeks in the program, she had said a big yes to taking a trip with her girlfriend to Peru, which she'd never done anything big like that. And when she came back, this relationship that she'd had as a friendship for many years turned into a soulmate relationship. And what is it, like 7 months since that happened? She's like, Karen, I cannot believe what happened. I can't believe this amazing man. I can't believe my amazing life. So, I mean, that was someone that said, absolutely, I'm not ready. No way. But she's the profound growth that she had from that program. These are her words, that it just healed so much within her, becoming that soulmate to herself and connecting with herself and feeling kind of that gap of grief, if you will.
I think for me, and I think for actually all of us in there, what the program did, I mean, I know I was coming off of, my mother's passing, my stepfather passed 3 months before my mother, and then years before that, my husband. And really, I had come off of a long life of taking care of everybody else. And what the program helped me do was really re-identify who I am and what I enjoy and how to make myself a priority in my life as opposed to taking care of everybody else. Not that I don't, I jokingly say I'm a reformed or reforming people pleaser. And I don't know that I will ever change completely. But now I have learned to set the boundaries and to say, this is what I really want in my life, and I'm going to make sure that it happens. I don't need to wait for other people to do it. I can do it on my own. And that's in a large part from the program that you ran.
Oh, thank you. And I think about, one of the key things we work on in the program is, like you say, all that people pleasing, all that nurturing for others. We learn how to do that to and for ourselves. And that's another piece that tends to be missing in a lot of women's lives that I know of, where we're so used to taking care of other people that we never turn all that energy and direction onto ourselves, because God forbid we're selfish or we're self-centered or whatever these crazy cultural societal words are. But the bottom line is, if our own cup is not full, we're really not able to fully give as we are going to be able to give when that cup is full. And so, one of the key things I say is, okay, think about, just imagine, let's play, right? Let's have a little fantasy imaginary. If you had a magic wand, what would your soulmate partner be saying to you? What would they be doing? Would they be bringing you flowers? What would you be doing? Would you be buying new lingerie? I mean, all those things. Now, okay, take all those things. Start doing them for yourself. Start having that as part of your life without the soulmate partner. These are the gifts you should be giving yourself. And, we did a lot of mirror work. We said all the things that we wanted to hear from a soulmate partner to ourselves. And that is the key to bringing up that vibrational frequency, of course, to attract that soulmate, that high caliber soulmate. But this is what the relationship building is. It's like, why aren't we doing all these things that we would do for someone else, but we're not with that person? So why not do them for ourselves and allow ourselves to have joy and build that relationship, that love relationship with ourselves?
I agree. I think, signing up for the program could be the best Valentine's gift you could give to yourself.
Yeah. And in fact, that as last year, right about Valentine's Day, I'm like, this isn't a pity party day for people that don't have a soulmate. This is about a love day for yourself. If, light the candles, if you enjoy champagne and you would be having champagne with your soulmate partner, you're buying that champagne for yourself. Get the bubble bath going, whatever it is. And I remember one of the participants, Luna, she really took that seriously. She went out and bought the dress that she was going to wear when she met her soulmate going out on the first date. She went ahead and she bought that so it was ready to go. And then she also bought lingerie that in hopes of a soulmate partner, but she wore it for herself on Valentine's Day. So we really kind of geared up around Valentine's Day, beginning that relationship with ourselves.
Yeah. It was a great experience for me. And, I want to suggest to all of our listeners that even if you don't feel you're ready for a relationship with anyone else, this is a wonderful way to learn more about yourself. Karen started with the Myers-Briggs personality assessment. And I was familiar with it, but not as far as relationships. I was familiar with using it for what kind of career you want to get into, or, what's your own personality style. But we looked at what it told us about the relationships that we currently have in our lives, whether that's with a child, a colleague, a friend, or a potential soulmate. What are the things that we're not willing to put up with anymore?
Yeah.
And that's really crucial.
Right.
It's crucial for all relationships.
Yeah. And so much about the program, well, you tell me, Amy, but I mean, that's how I designed it, is about building your self-worth and building that belief muscle that you deserve the highest caliber soulmate partner. You deserve to have love in your life. You deserve to have joy in your life. You are worthy. Mm-hmm. So, that's a big piece. We even cleared, some energy fields around, these distortions that, we're hanging on to even past mistakes or whatever, that we don't feel worthy of all that we desire. And that's a big part of the program as well, is, self-worth.
Mm-hmm. And, for anybody who's thinking, oh, this sounds interesting, but I don't want to spend the money on myself, that's the first thing then that you should do, is spend the money, because you are worth it. And
that puts a big message out to the universe that you're making a commitment to yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
You've also started a Facebook group for women who may either not be sure that the program is right for them or want additional support. Can you tell me a little bit about the group?
Sure. Well, one of the reasons why I started the Soulmate Sisterhood, it's a Facebook group, was because what happens is, as you know, how close of a bond that we developed, the women in the group. It is, the Soulmate Solution is the name of the program that we've been talking about. And again, it's a 12-week program where we just connect as women. So what was happening is, we really don't want to leave each other after 12 weeks. So I started the Facebook group, the Soulmate Sisterhood, as somewhat of an after support care. But for those listeners that might not be saying, I'm not ready for a soulmate partner in my life, the reason why the Soulmate Sisterhood would be beautiful for you is, number one, it's a free Facebook group. So, but it's not focused on you meeting a soulmate partner. It's the work around becoming your own soulmate. So, it has a variety of, sometimes there's speakers, there's Q&A, there's just different people sharing things, big wins in self-connection, affirmations about loving yourself. So it's really a Facebook group devoted to helping you become your own soulmate, without the other part of it, which is trying to bring a soulmate partner into your life.
And I love that you're calling it the soulmate sisterhood.
Yeah.
So that there's the power of women and women's relationships
Yes.
with each other, and the support that we can all give each other.
Right. It's a very high vibe, very positive, connected, supported, circle of women. Yeah. So that's just free for anybody that wants. Well, it's a women's group. It is a sisterhood. So
before we go, I don't want to forget the story of the manifestation of your husband, of Doug, of finding that the whole relationship. Because I think it really underscores how fast the universe works when you're in alignment.
Right.
So we mentioned that you had met Doug 5 years? Almost 5 years ago. 4.5.
It was, we've almost been married 4 years. So it was, it was about four and a half years ago. Yeah.
May of 2018.
Yep.
So, okay, you met, and then what?
Well, actually, when I went to Paris, I was dating someone. So I can tell you that first off, the way the universe works so magically is you don't want to limit yourself to think, oh, okay, this is how this is going to happen, because your human brain cannot even fathom how dots can connect. And that's why this story really lends itself to proof of that. Okay. Never in my wildest dreams would I have said to myself, Karen, here's what's going to happen. You're going to take the biggest step, yes, in your life by going to Paris by yourself. And while you're there, you're also going to meet your soulmate. Okay. Never in my brain would I have come up with that. At the time I was living in a small town in Southern Oregon, and I'm like, okay, the dude's probably going to have a flannel shirt, like it or not. This is all that's here. And anyway, I was dating someone, so I had no intention of meeting anyone in Paris. So I happened to meet Doug in Paris at this event. And I don't know, Amy, I was just kind of pulled towards him. Of course, he, he's a very stylish dresser. So, and he stood out in the room. There were only 3 dudes, and one was married. And I did notice he didn't have a wedding ring on. So I'm not, like I say, I was not pursuing him under the guise of wanting to meet him. For some reason, I was drawn to him.
But you weren't dead. You did notice.
No, I was not. Yeah. No, I did notice. I took notice. Okay. So, but I right after the event started, I walked up to him and I said, how are you a part of this group? And he said, oh, well, I just joined the Bold Heart Leverage Business Group. And I had come from Mindset, this big mindset group that both of us have gone to, Amy. And there's 350 high power, women in this big mindset group. Okay.
And a few men.
And a few men. Yeah. That's what, the person who runs it, she goes, I cater to, high powered women and a few good men. So he was one of those few good men. So anyway, I digress. But I said to him, I said, I noticed you don't have a wedding ring on. Are you single? And he's like, yes. And I go, okay, I want to tell you, you just signed up for this business program. Are you going to the mindset program? And he said, yes. I go, you just made the best decision of your life. I go, you are going to meet your future wife in this program. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I just know it. I feel it. Now, Amy, that was not me. And I did not even feel it was me. It was almost like a message that was coming through that I wanted to share with him, right? So anyway, the last night that we're there, the roommate that I had, that was a participant in the program, she goes, hey, I shared a ride with this guy, Doug, from the airport. He's by himself. Do you mind if he goes to dinner with us? And I'm like, no, I don't care. So anyway, the three of us did have a nice dinner. We decided to try to find out where Hemingway lived. And so we did this excursion like an hour after dinner. We found it. We felt pretty proud of ourselves. And then that was that. And then 4 months later, and in the 4 months, I had broken up with a relationship that I had. So I was fully single for a good 2.5 months. Our mutual friend, the one that did the photo shoot that you mentioned, Facebook messaged me and she said, Karen, I just received a message and I was told that I am the messenger to tell you that you are to contact Doug. And I'm like, Doug who? Like, she goes, Doug from the retreat, Doug from Paris. And I'm like, I don't even know what to say to him. And I said, can I say that you got this download and that I'm contacting you because Allie told me to? She goes, nope, you're a grown woman. You take care of this. I'm just the messenger. I gave the message. I'm out. I'm done. And so I Facebook messaged him and said, hey, I was thinking that it might be good if we talked. And he's like, okay, how about Tuesday? So 4 months of Zoom calls, Zoom dating. We met for a weekend. Actually, it was pretty romantic. I was going to another retreat the first week in December. First week in May. Doug and I had decided, okay, we've been talking for over 4 months. It'll be close to 4.5 by the 3-day weekend at the end of May, which is what Memorial Day weekend. So we had decided we would meet in San Francisco. So this would be the first time after Paris. Well, the first weekend in December, I was going to a retreat in Denver. And he just said, hey, I happen to check out your schedule. It looks like you have Saturday night free. Maybe we could do dinner. And I'm like, I'm not bringing my computer. I'm not doing Zoom calls. And he's like, no, Karen, do you realize you're only 1,200 miles away? I can't not fly in and have dinner with you. Well, that was like the most romantic thing anybody had ever said to me. And he did fly in. And so we got to see each other for the first time after Paris in that weekend. And then 3 weeks later, we did our scheduled San Francisco week. And he put this ring on my finger. He proposed the second time we saw each other. And so that was the end of May. I went back to work that Tuesday, said I was going to quit my job, and July, so 3 months later, we were married. And I moved from the West Coast to Michigan, and now I live in Michigan.
That's manifestation.
That's manifestation. That's manifestation when you, like you say, are in alignment, and when you just start doing life to the fullest that you can do life, which for me, Paris was that, and let all the rest take care of itself. And don't limit yourself to the human mind orchestrating the how, because the most important thing in manifestation, and Mike Dooley says this, don't attach to the cursed hows. Don't you worry about how. You decide with an intention of what you desire. You put it out there, and most importantly, you take action steps toward it. You can't sit on your couch. You've got to take action steps, baby steps. And when you do that, it's magical. It's magical.
It's amazing. It's just amazing how the universe works to conspire for our best interest.
Yeah.
That we just have to have the idea.
Right. No matter what you see in front of you, trust and have faith and keep moving forward.
Yep. The statement that coach had would say is, okay, let's see. I trust that the universe is moving in my best interest right now, no matter what I see in front of me.
Yeah.
I messed that up a little bit, but
that's the intent.
The intention.
Yes.
And I have seen that so many times in my life, that when I get myself out of my brain and stop trying to be the logical person that I am, when I try to not worry about how something's going to happen. Just get the idea, think about it, envision it, which is
Yes.
why children are so good at this,
Right.
because children have such wonderful imaginations that we cut short
Yeah.
and we just stop. When we can do that and let our brains just think about how wonderful it would be and see it in my mind,
Right.
like a kid who sees the bicycle that they want. They
Right.
could tell you the color of the bike. They could tell you the make of the bike, how many speeds, whatever else there is about bikes. And it's not important how they get it. That's
No,
not
they're not
concentrating on.
thinking about, oh, it's going to take my mom or dad saving up $300. And then once that happens, no, none of that. They just want it.
That's right.
And I think the other thing that's so important with visualization is seeing yourself in that picture. Let's use the bike. Okay. Seeing yourself with the bike, riding the bike, but most importantly, how are you feeling when you're seeing yourself? Because what really activates visualization is associating feeling when you're seeing this. Because when I talk about vibration and frequency, I probably should have said all that is the actual feeling, the emotion where we're at. That is so packed full of power and energy. And that is what raises your vibration. And as humans, really our default is joy and happiness. Now, we can say, how often are we in that state? But we are constant manifestors, whether we are applying skills around it or knowing around it. Every one of us is constantly manifesting. What we see in our life is a result of what we think, what we believe, and that becomes our life experience. And emotion is even more powerful than thoughts. So if you can start having, and that's why the Soulmate Solution is so focused on getting you to love your life and getting you to love yourself and getting you to that natural default of joy and happiness. Because when you are there, everything is coming to you because you are a magnet for high caliber, high energy, beautiful things happening. And your life experience starts changing just because you've changed that frequency.
Yep. So the key takeaways from this for me are: say yes to the universe, that your life can't change if you sit in the same place day in and day out and never say yes to anything outside yourself or your home. And to get out of your head and into your feeling, whether your feelings are in your gut or in your heart, wherever you feel them.
Yeah.
Get into those feelings. And I know this may sound woo, but for those of you who've been following me for a while, you know that I believe in woo.
Yeah.
I believe that we have so much more power than we think we have. So get out of our heads and into our feelings. We can manifest anything and everything. So say yes to this program and register, sign up. And now Karen's going to tell us how we can do that.
Okay, well, actually, you can go to my website and you can jump on the link there where you can sign up for the Soulmate Solution. I also have a free takeaway on the 5 easiest ways to become your own soulmate. And so you can download that for free. I think the easiest thing to do, Amy, is to just join the Facebook group, the Soulmate Sisterhood.
And there'll be a link
from there. We can I'll reach out to you and we can start a conversation. And if you go to my website, you can book a call with me. I would love to hear your story. I would love to talk to you. It's just a free talk. It's a get acquainted call. So, I mean, that's one way to just start a conversation, but just join the free Facebook group. That's a great starting point.
Okay, and we'll have the link there, and we'll also put the link in for your website.
Okay, awesome. Wonderful.
So that way people can find you and sign up. And maybe, let's see, it's a 12 month, so it's a 12-week, 3-month program. So
Yeah.
it starts in February, March, April. So by the end of May.
Yep, ready for summer.
Yep. Have a full, fun, joyful summer.
Yeah.
And maybe this will be, well, no, it will be. It'll be the last Valentine's Day where you're alone.
Yeah. Yeah. I do want to say one thing. I like to keep the group, as you know, intimate. And the reason for that is so we can have that deep connection. So I'm only opening 12 spots. For the Soulmate Solution program. The Facebook group can have as many as possible.
Yeah, I think it's very important. This is a very intimate group with a lot of deep sharing and a lot of confidentiality.
Yes, and it's a very safe place.
And so to keep it safe, to limit is great.
Yeah.
Karen, thank you. Is there anything else that you would like to add to this for any of the listeners?
You know, I want to thank you, Amy, for having me here today. It's been a lot of fun. And the only thing I would add is that move forward, even if it's just one tiny baby step at a time. Just move forward in a positive direction. And if you're not ready to really we talked about moving out of your comfort zone. Okay, that might be big and scary to you. Let's just do one thing that you weren't willing to do yesterday. Whether that's, I don't know, walk to the end of your block, maybe say hi to one of your neighbors. I mean, whatever it is, right? Because, I mean, the one thing I try to do is meet everybody where they are. So anybody that comes in the program, you're all at different places, right? So just take that next step, just say that next yes, and it will get easier. So that's all I'll share. And, you know, a great safe place to do that would be in the Facebook group to get a little taste of what it's like to start becoming your own soulmate. I think that would be a nice, supportive, free way to do that.
I agree. I have been living my life for the past, I think it's 8 years now, with getting more comfortable with saying yes and stepping out of my comfort zone. When something feels a little scary, I force myself to say yes and to do it.
And you know what? Yeah, Amy, I remember when you responded about joining the Soulmate Solution. I think you said something exactly like that. You said, Karen, the reason I'm saying yes to this is because I want to say no, which means I should be saying yes.
Exactly.
Isn't that what you said?
When I get such a gut feeling of discomfort, I push myself to say yes.
Yeah, that's amazing, Amy. That's amazing.
And so I encourage everyone else to do the same. And I'll see you in the group because I joined the group.
Yes. Awesome. Can't wait.
Thanks a lot, Karen.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.
If you liked what you heard on this podcast and want to hear more, please follow us and tell your friends. You can also find me on Facebook at Amy Lindner Lesser, Grief to Growth Life Coaching, and on LinkedIn at Amy Lindner Lesser. Thanks again for listening.